The small town of Maplewood was quiet, serene, almost too quiet. A place where people left their doors unlocked and gossiped in grocery aisles. In this idyllic community, everyone knew James and Claire Bennett. James, a successful realtor in his late 30s, had the charm of a politician and the smile of a movie star. Claire, his wife of 10 years, was a schoolteacher adored by her students and respected by the community. Together, they seemed perfect until Claire disappeared. It all began one Friday evening. James has been distant again. Late nights at work. Long phone calls that end in whispers. "I'm not crazy, right? Something's going on. I'll confront him tonight." Claire closed her journal with trembling fingers. The autumn wind howled outside, rustling the dry leaves against the Bennett home. She glanced at the clock again. James should have been home by now. At 7:20 p.m., the front door creaked open. "Claire." Softly, from the kitchen. "You're late." James. Startled. Work was insane. The Robinsons made a last-minute offer on the Elm Street house. Claire stared at him, trying to read his eyes. They no longer held the warmth she once knew. "Claire. You're wearing cologne. You don't wear cologne for the Robinsons." James. Smirking. "Maybe I just wanted to smell good for my wife." But Claire wasn't convinced. That night, she didn't sleep. She lay awake, watching the man next to her breathe steadily in the dark, wondering who he really was. 2 days later, Claire didn't show up for work. Her best friend, Megan, called her cell, no answer. Texted, no reply. By the third day, she contacted the police. Detective Laura Reed took the missing person report. Most likely she needed a break, her partner said. But something didn't sit right with Laura. She went to interview James. James sat in his living room, sipping coffee with steady hands. Too steady. Detective Reed. "When was the last time you saw Claire?" James. "Sunday night. We watched a movie. She said she wasn't feeling well and went to bed early." Detective Reed. "She didn't leave a note? No messages?" James. "Nothing." But Detective Reed noticed the faint outline of a removed picture frame on the hallway wall. Claire's photo was missing. Claire's journal was discovered in her desk drawer by her sister, Julia, who handed it to the police. The last few entries hinted at something dark. "I followed him to that cafe again. Same woman. Blonde, younger, always laughing at his jokes. He lied again. Said he was working late. But his car was at the Lakeview Inn. If I disappear, it's not an accident." Detective Reed's interest peaked. Surveillance footage from Lakeview Inn confirmed James had been visiting room 214 regularly, registered under the name Andrew Miller. The woman? A 27-year-old yoga instructor named Emily Sloan. 3 days before Claire disappeared. Claire. "I know about Emily." James. Cold. "So what? You want a divorce?" Claire. "No. I want the truth." James said nothing. Claire's voice cracked. "Claire. I gave up everything for you, James." He walked away. But someone overheard the fight. Their neighbor, Mr. Daniels, reported shouting and glass breaking that night. "You said." "Yes." Detective Eliza Hart stood at the edge of the docks, watching the early morning fog swirl like whispers over the dark surface of the lake. The discovery of Linda's body, floating face down with hands bound and weighted by an anchor, had turned the quiet lakeside town into the epicenter of a national scandal. What once was suspected infidelity was now confirmed homicide. New evidence. Eliza returned to the precinct with more than just questions. She had a forensic report in hand. Trace elements of latex and chloroform were found on Linda's clothing. Whoever had killed her had planned it carefully. Back at the crime scene, divers uncovered a second piece of evidence: Linda's phone, wrapped in plastic and duct tape, buried beneath a rock. Miraculously, the phone's memory card was intact. The messages on the phone revealed more than just the secret affair. Linda had discovered a second woman, Monica Fisher, David's longtime secretary and, apparently, longtime mistress. Linda had messaged herself journal-style entries, documenting her suspicions. The spiral. David Greystone, once a respected financial consultant, was unraveling. After his arrest, his polished persona dissolved. The man who had offered charming smiles and played piano at dinner parties now sat in an orange jumpsuit, gaunt and twitchy. Eliza interviewed Monica next. She was nervous but cooperative. "I loved him," Monica whispered. "But I didn't kill Linda." Eliza noted the phrasing. "You say that as if you know who did." Monica shook her head. "I told David to come clean. I never wanted any of this. But he said she'd ruin him. The secret life. Financial audits of David's accounts unearthed troubling irregularities. Hidden transactions, an offshore account, and a life insurance policy on Linda totaling $2 million, taken out just 6 months before her death. As the evidence mounted, a clearer picture emerged. David wasn't just a cheating husband. He was a man drowning in debt, desperate, and capable of murder. The turning point. One piece of evidence turned everything: a gas station surveillance tape from 3 nights before Linda was reported missing. It showed David purchasing duct tape, rope, and gloves, items later matched with those used in the crime. During interrogation, Eliza confronted him. "You lied about the trip to Chicago. You never left town." David remained silent. "We found Linda's phone. We read the messages. Still no response." Then Eliza played a voicemail, a message Linda had tried to send the night she vanished. "David, I know. I found the papers. We need to talk face to face. I'm not scared of you. Not anymore." A tremble passed through him. "You don't understand," he finally muttered. "She was going to take everything." "You mean your money?" "No," David said, eyes welling up. "My reputation." The trial captivated the nation. A well-to-do man with a pristine public image now stood accused of orchestrating his wife's murder to protect his secrets and maintain control of his life's narrative. Prosecutors presented evidence: the insurance policy, the purchases, the affair, the financial motive. Monica testified, tearfully, about their toxic relationship and his obsessive tendencies. David's defense team tried to spin a tale of conspiracy, but jurors weren't convinced. The final nail came from a text David had sent Monica 2 days before Linda's disappearance. "By this weekend, it'll just be us." Verdict. After 3 days of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. David was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Eliza Hart stood once again by the lake. The water now shimmered under a setting sun, peaceful, concealing its dark history beneath. In the end, it wasn't just a case of infidelity, it was a web of ego, deceit, and control. Linda Greystone's story would live on, a stark reminder that sometimes, the most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves.